Hi, first I'd like to welcome you all to the Skyline Competition Cheer parent meeting. I had asked the girls if they thought you would like to have a face-to-face or if it would be better to do a YouTube video again, and they voted for YouTube, so I decided to go this route. And hopefully you and your children will watch it. First off, welcome, and we're so glad to have you part of our program. We are a small team this year, building again upon last year, and I do expect great things again this year if your kids continue to work hard. Our coaching staff will consist of myself, Christy Bayless, Heather Brown is our JV/assistant coach, and Donna Rogers is also our volunteer assistant coach, and she helps as well. By now, you guys have filled out the majority of the paperwork, and hopefully it's all submitted. That contains your Skyline Code of Conduct, which has the Hawk Pledge at the end to sign by you and your athlete. It contained our competition guidelines, which hopefully you and your athlete read through, as well as the concussion form and the emergency card. So if you haven't seen those items, hopefully your child has told you about it and you've taken care of it, and we can move on from there. Also, the calendar at this point, if you have not accessed it, it can be accessed from our website, skylinesports.org. Click on Varsity Cheer and then click on Team Links. It is a Google Calendar, and so therefore you can download it straight to your phone, so you don't have to always log in to the actual website to access it. And if you can't figure it out, I'm sure your kids can teach you how to download it to your phone. But simply use your email address that you sign in to view a Google Calendar. Make sure that's logged in on your phone, and it all should work. Let me know if you have questions on that. Something that I need to address with the athletes as well as you is just to be sure that we're perfectly clear there's no hazing or any type of introductory into the competition program. I don't think we have that issue, as we only have 2 seniors and 1 junior, and the rest are freshmen and sophomores, so we all pretty much pull our same weight, but just so it's said, that is not acceptable by Skyline or Warren County Public Schools. We are a competition team, so we aren't just a sideline team that cheers at games. So as a competition team, we are expected to be competitive. And in doing that, we have to be highly conditioned and trained to do a variety of things. It isn't always easy. The sport is tough. You will ache. There's going to be pain. You will have to, as a mom, get some bags of ice or a cold bath, or even a dad, maybe even administer some ibuprofen or Tylenol as you see fit. As the season progresses, all those aches and pains will get a little lighter, and maybe not as often. The better condition they are, the easier it becomes. We're coming off a long summer, and it is a demanding sport, and so there are going to be some aches and pains, and the girls just have to learn how to work through it. And boy, now that we have a boy on our team as well. Hopefully, we're pretty excited about that, and hopefully the girls don't run them off. We are, like I said, we are a small team this year, and we're hoping to build in the future, but in order to do that, we need your support, and we need your kids to work in the off season. So not just to come back in August and just pick up where they left off when they stopped in October. So if we want to be competitive at the state level, then we have to keep our skills up year round. And that doesn't mean that you can't participate in winter or spring sports. That simply means that you can't completely forget about, those tumbling skills, especially in the off season. You at least have to give yourself 1 day a week or practice it some way, somehow, but you can't just drop the ball from October to August. And some of us have done that, and I'm hoping that this year's a learning experience and they can continue to move their skills forward, because the only way that we can advance as a program is to keep our skills up in the off season. I personally think it's great that kids play basketball, track, softball, any other sport that they can do in the off season, because one can get burnout on cheer. But like anything else, you have to keep those skills up some way, somehow in your off season too. So as parents, if you would encourage your kids to keep stretching and do those things in the off season, that would be great. Lines of communication. I communicate directly with your athletes. I tend to send emails, and hopefully you have all received an email from me by now. We are having some issues with our email at school because we're converting to Gmail but still using our school account. I did send an email out on Monday, and hopefully you all got that. If not, I need you to let me know. If you can send me an email from your email address to my hokichick@ address, hokiechik@gmail.com. Then I can be sure to get you on the list to make sure no one is left out, because I do try to follow up with emails and let you guys know what is going on. But I do communicate with your kids first. I also have a GroupMe app that I communicate with the kids through. It's easier than sending a mass text. It goes there, and that's for me to let them know what's going on if there's changes, or to get like food orders and such like that. That's just a communication tool for me, and they're not to like mark in there until like they're asked to do so. And it's not for parents, it's just for the athletes. If there is an issue that you would like to discuss, I would ask that you discuss it with your athlete first to make sure that they have come and discussed whatever their issue is with me. Say Susie has an issue at practice and she comes home and she's venting about it to you. You're their parents. That's who they come home to vent, that Coach Bayless was really hard and she was mean today. Take it in stride and either provide them some tools to come back at me with, to have a discussion, encourage them to come back and have a discussion. And if after that doesn't work, if you still feel that we need a meeting, then I would be happy to sit down with you and your athlete and meet and try to resolve the matter. I'm not here to say this way or the highway. Yes, I've been doing this quite some time, and yes, I grow every year. And despite what some people may think, I am willing to grow and change. That doesn't necessarily mean the outcome will be what your athlete wants, but I do want everyone to feel comfortable coming to me and have a discussion if there is an issue that arises. Money, hopefully you've turned in your money by now. If you haven't, I really need that as soon as possible. Up until last year, in the off season, the athletes have raised enough to cover the cost of choreography. And so up until last year, I did not have to charge for choreography. Last year and this year I did charge, because we have not been fundraising enough in the off season to cover that cost and the other costs that we have, in addition to purchasing new uniforms. We need new uniforms. The other ones are a little dated. And it keeps the excitement. When the kids feel good and look good, they feel even better and more empowered. So I try to keep that on a 3 to 4 year rotation for uniforms. That's just what I've done. These ones are actually on a 5-year rotation, just to let you know, because the money's been short. So if we could keep continuing to fundraise, then next year maybe no one has to pay for choreography because the money is already there. But in order to do that, everyone has to fundraise. Now I have a lot of kids who tell me, and I would venture to say that I had 5 people on the team that are currently on the team who say their parents would rather write a check than fundraise. That may be. And I can't speak to that. You know, I understand the hassle in fundraising. I hate it myself. And for my stepdaughter, I actually would rather write a check than fundraise too. However, it still needs to be done for general fund purposes. So there have been a few fundraisers going on, and I appreciate those of you who have already participated in those and are helping to raise funds. I would ask that you keep moving forward to raise funds so we're not in this boat for next year. So you paid for your choreography, and you should have paid for food. At this point, we do orders and I just buy the kids food. It's worked out easier than other things that we've tried in the past, and seems to be the simplest way to go about it. So that's why we do that. If you already had practice gear, then you didn't have to purchase any. With the exception of 1 or 2 people, we only had to get a couple new practice gears this year. Everyone else got used practice gear, and that was at a discounted cost. So by the time it's all said and done, because the practice gear has been used for quite a number of years now, they wear it every day. I wash it and dry it every day, so they have the same thing. It's held up really nice. So you can divide that cost through 5 years on what you paid for it and determine, you know, what it's costing you per year. The shoes, that is up to you completely on what kind of shoe you want. All I say is a solid white competition shoe. You can get a $20 pair, you can get a $200 pair. Completely up to you. So your kids are responsible for keeping those clean. The warm-ups were also handed out. Most of you chose to buy your warm-ups. There were a couple that did not have warm-ups, and we have some school ones that we have given out for those kids that did not have warm-ups, so everyone should have that by now. So as far as gear goes, they had a bag that they were giving to use for the season. They should have warm-ups, they should have their shoes. They have a uniform in possession right now to take us through pictures until we get the new uniform. And then I keep the bows on hand as well, so they're also school property. So we try to do the best we can to help you out with that. But moving forward, I really, really, really need you guys to help with fundraising and get your kids to help so we can not have to pay that choreography cost out of pocket next year. Tumbling, that is something that our routine is very heavy in this year, and it's awesome. The choreography for the tumbling section is awesome. However, the kids have to be able to hit it, and right now their problem is they're not conditioned to hit it, or they're not throwing the skills that they can do. So it's a double-edged sword there. We just have to get through that part and get the confidence up to do it, but we really need you guys to continue taking your kids to tumble throughout the season, as little or as much as you think they are capable of handling. We don't do tumbling instruction during practice. There's just not enough time to teach ground-up tumbling at practice, and that's a lot of one-on-one help. So I would ask that you guys make arrangements, maybe carpool, get some kids together, figure out what best way you can come about to get your kids to tumbling and keep up those skills. The website typically has any changes that are being made on it as far as the schedule goes. Since I do use a Google Calendar, a lot of times if the competition has cost or a layout or something associated with it, like a handout, I will attach the handout to the calendar date, like for the Hawks Cheer Challenge. Once we get closer to it and the document is finalized with the team times and the cost, then I will attach that document to the calendar, and you can view and see how much it costs to get in, where the school is, the directions and such like that, all from the Google Calendar. So if you have questions, my suggestion is first to access the Google Calendar and see if there's something attached to that. I put it up there as soon as I get it, and I try to let you guys know of any changes as I find them out. Parent expectations at competition. As a Skyline High School athlete, we are held to a higher standard. I hold the kids to a higher standard. I don't really care what other teams do. I'm just worried about our 12, 16 girls that we've got out there. So I don't like to see them hanging on boys, kissing their boyfriends. I try to keep them as a group at competitions and not going to buy shirts or food. We provide food. I tell them to let you guys know if they want a shirt, so you already know going in what to expect. So please talk to your kid before the competition to decide if they want a shirt, what size they want, etc. I try to let the kids go down and see what the shirt design is prior to you guys ever being let in the door. That way they know and they can communicate with you if they want one or not. In the same breath, I can't control my parents, and I can only ask that you guys hold yourself to the same high standard that I hold your kids. Meaning there are a lot of teams out there and parents out there that will be rude, and it is really, really hard to take the high road. Trust me, I know. Dealing with a number of people on a number of different levels professionally. It's hard to do, but in the end, you do look like the more professional and responsible person by not acknowledging someone making derogatory comments, or you not making those derogatory comments. I always ask our girls to be 100% spirited when we are competing with Warren County, and I will do the same thing this year. They are our sisters in the community, and we all come from the same county, and even though we do both secretly want to beat each other, at the same time, if we can't win, then I would like to see someone else from our community to be able to hold that first place spot. So when we see them in competition, they will be expected to cheer those girls on and hold themselves to a very high standard. Sometimes in the past that has come from the other side, sometimes it hasn't. I know that our parents have always done a phenomenal job of cheering on other teams, and I hope that this year is no exception. I hope that you guys will continue to root on our sisters across town and really be good sportsmanship for everyone, like whatever team that we see. Because really, it's who's going to do the best on the mat and who's going to put their heart out there and get the job done. So, and that goes without saying for in any fashion. We're at fundraising, whether we're just in the community at an end of season night. You guys represent the Skyline Cheer program as well. Not just your kids, you do too. So hopefully anything that you say and do is a positive reflection on the program. Checking my notes here. I think that's about it. if you have any questions on anything I've said or something that's gone about so far, get your kids to ask me first. I like to make the kids have to communicate. They're so used to texting and such like that that they don't get to hold conversations too often. I'm just as guilty myself. But if there is something you want to know, please feel free to email me. My school email should be working right now. cbayless@wcps.k12.va.us. And if not, my personal email, hokiechik@gmail.com, will work as well. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to an excellent season, and I can't wait for you to see the routine.